You mean that we made? There's so many bad Spongebob episodes out there that you probably can't personally handle it.
Right. Who let you in here anyway? Did Krusty tell you how to get in? Anyway, I guess since I have a special guest, it's time to start the top 10 worst SpongeBob episodes. Overall, this is a boring episode with an overall rancid moral. It states that crying solves all of your problems.
Okay, hang on. Boring? No. This episode is anything but that's still not the problem. Well, actually, this could be considered boring in terms that it's not funny, but Patrick is a complete jerk. I don't think the moral is the biggest problem, even though it is a big one. Patrick, by far, is the biggest problem in here.
Patrick's the biggest problem in a lot of episodes, though.
Good point.
Which you'll see a lot of on this list. Actually, this is a theme that I find very common among specials. They're hyped up, but they can never live up to said hype, which immediately puts them in the top just because they can't promise what they deliver. An unmarketed episode that's bad isn't near as bad as a very hyped themed special.
Well, I'm going to disagree with you on that last thing. Just because it's unmarketed doesn't mean it's not bad.
I know, but it's more of a disappointment.
True, Atlantis Scorpianus was hyped up and is extremely boring. And this is why it's in the top 10. It is just an hour of complete boredom. And also, what is up with Patchy here?
This episode is probably the creepiest episode of SpongeBob ever. Well, actually, there are some, like the torture episodes, and some later on the list. Face freeze.
Now, I agree with you. This episode is very creepy. But I think the creepiest episode is Squid's visit.
Yeah.
Now, the problem with this episode is SpongeBob is hoarding a sandwich. That is also very creepy. And also, something that really gets me is the close-up picture of the patty at the end. That
oh my
really
gosh. This episode is even creepier than To Love a Patty.
Okay, I disagree. It's not creepier. It is just scary. I literally could scream watching this episode. Some of the faces in this episode can be in a screamer, and it would be a successful screamer.
Or in Five Nights. As a fan of Plankton, I personally hate this episode. And as a fan of Mr. Krabs, I also hate it. It shows him as just a mean-spirited man. If you can call him one.
Okay, this is by far the worst Mr. Krabs episode. The previous episodes could have gone in any particular order, but this is where we get into the real crap.
Mm-hmm. This episode has a face scarier than Face Freeze.
Yes, it does, but that is not the main problem. Also, some faces in Face Freeze are scarier. But anyway, this is, I think, the worst Squidward torture episode. SpongeBob is horrible here. He intentionally tries to hurt Squidward. Watch the episode and see.
A pal for Gary. SpongeBob is the villain.
Yeah, Puffy Fluffy isn't the villain in this episode. He's a monster. Monsters want to eat small things. So, SpongeBob is completely unaware of this. Actually, he is aware of this. He just wants Gary to get eaten.
Mm-hmm.
This is the worst SpongeBob episode. Not the worst Patrick, SpongeBob.
Patrick is the main villain of SpongeBob. I'm convinced.
This is the worst Patrick episode and the worst episode in my opinion. Patrick is terrible. Also, this is a pal for Gary too, in a nutshell.
This is one of the most uncharacteristic SpongeBob episodes ever, with Miss Puff asking why SpongeBob isn't dead.
True, and this is probably the episode where they're most out of character. SpongeBob hurts Mrs. Puff badly, knows that he hurt her, and doesn't care. And then after that, Mrs. Puff tries to murder him. Also, this is creepy.
I'm done, Corbin. Why'd you hack my channel and make me do this?
You were doing it before I did, and Truth or Square, in my opinion, is not the worst episode.
It is, in my opinion.
But boy, is it bad. It's really bad.
It ignores old SpongeBob's existence altogether.
It ignores every single other episode. And also, it is completely boring. It is just an hour long of complete boredom, like Truth or Square. And also, what really insults me is that song, the little video Patchy says where SpongeBob was like, in the good old days. That's just a big smack in the face for SpongeBob fans.
Okay, where are you, Corbin? Nope. No. There you are. Get down here.
Oh crap.
Get down here.
Sorry.
You know what I have to do for this? I mean, you hacked my channel.
What?
I curse you to review bad SpongeBob episodes in the next season of the review show.
No.
Yes. And from that day on, Corbin was never the same again.